programming is furnished by you and your doctor.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing Palm Beach County, Miami, and Broward. And our phone number is 954-717-7027. I am delighted to introduce everybody to Miss Kerri Ballinger. She is a functional holistic health practitioner. And she's right here, actually, in Delray Beach. The name of the company is Wildflower Allergy and Herbs.com. And her phone number is 561-706-4772. And she's right here, 100 East Linton Boulevard, Suite 206A2, Delray Beach, 33483. And we'll discuss. Kerri has in-depth knowledge of herbal remedies, natural therapies. I'd love to dive right into this. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to introduce everybody to other options because it's so easy to go to a doctor and follow along that whole route. But sometimes people may have that little nagging intuition like maybe there's something natural.
Yes.
And so what would that look like? Well, first let's get into a little bit background. What made you want to do all that you're doing?
Well, a couple things. Early on, in my early 20s, I became very sick. I am type 1 diabetic. I had lost all of my hair. I couldn't sleep. I was in major pain all the time. And I was just starting my career as a teacher. And one of the teachers said, I think, after suffering for months, teacher said, I have somebody for you, I think. So I went. I had never encountered a holistic doctor before, but I went to this holistic doctor. Within 10 minutes, he knew exactly what was wrong with me, and this is after 2-3 weeks in the hospital, no one being able to figure it out. Within 2 weeks after following his regimen, my hair started to grow. I started to live a happy life again. That was the first thing. I think everything has like a trial, right?
Sure.
So the second thing was after my second son was born, completely healthy. At the about age of 5, we noticed some changes, and I had brought him to 10 to 15 doctors. They were saying he was dyslexic, autistic. He was emotionally and behaviorally stunted. He was banging his head. He was having all of these, symptoms that we had never experienced before, and I had no idea how to deal with. My older child had none of that. So, and they said he was, slower in school. So I was standing outside of a pet store giving away his guinea pig because we had done everything else. He had been biopsied. He'd had all of his allergy tests done. Nothing came up. And as I was giving away his guinea pig and crying with my 5-year-old, a lady walked up and asked me what was going on. I told her the story, and she handed me a card and said, please go see this person. She'll save your son like they saved my daughter.
Wow.
So, yeah, the daughter actually got out of the car. They told me the whole situation. Her daughter couldn't leave her room. Because everything environmental would send her into this state of she couldn't breathe and ended up in the hospital several times. So after going to see this NATE practitioner, it's a holistic health practitioner that specializes in NATE.
Okay, I was going to say, can you give it, that's the acronym.
Yes.
What does NATE stand for?
It's Dr. Blvd Ste's allergy elimination technique.
Okay.
It's completely holistic, no needles, no shots, nothing. We work with the nervous system and the way that your body reacts to an allergen, so that we reprogram the nervous system so that it doesn't have the reaction or the normal immune response to an allergen. It's pretty simple, actually. We expose you to the allergen and then open the 12 meridian lines in the bodies to accept it. So,
How do you open the meridian lines?
all it is an arthrostem. You hold the allergen, you lay face down, and the meridian lines, they all connect within the 2 columns along the spine, and it basically vibrates the meridian lines. And it depends on how long you've had the allergen, how big, like people have sensitivities and then they have full allergies. So with my son, I can give you an example. He had 7 sessions, completely different child, full A-B student now, an amazing athlete, and no more symptoms of any of what they had diagnosed him with.
So what you're telling me is he had sensitivities that were causing him to react in such a way.
Yep.
And then once exposed to that sensitivity or allergen, then your body kind of recalibrates or accepts that
As normal.
as normal.
So I always call it like a bump in the road. If you, and I've said this before, if you take your car and you go over a pothole in the road, your car feels it, right?
Sure.
But you may not recognize it as anything. As you go over that pothole again and again, not only does that pothole get bigger, but then the car starts to feel it, right? And now all of a sudden your brakes are feeling weird and your car is shaking or that kind of thing.
Sure.
So I believe that if you can discover those potholes early on, or it doesn't have to be early on, then you can treat them and pave over those potholes, or you can rewire or reroute the nervous system so you're not feeling the reaction of that pothole every time you drive over it.
Wow. You know, what's so amazing to me is I've never heard of this, and I'm into natural healing. I'm into herbals and all these amazing things. So someone like me who's never heard of it, and I'm always researching and learning, I imagine this is a domain of healthcare that so many people can benefit from.
There's so many. I've treated kids with autism, from women with menopause and hormonal dysfunctions, digestive disorders, every allergen under the sun, every sensitivity, gluten sensitivities. I have a family flying in next week. They're all allergic to gluten.
I was going to ask about that because
Yeah.
gluten is a huge factor
Yeah,
nowadays.
huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're having success with people with gluten sensitivities?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it's kind of like we were discussing prior to the show, when a person's at a farm or out in exposed to different I want to say the soil biome or whatever you call it, all the different I guess
The environmental.
the environmental. So once people are exposed to that, so our body will build an immunity.
Right.
So it's similar, right?
Yeah, very similar to that. There's a lot of therapies now for people with food allergies. They do a slow implementation of that food and make sure that the person doesn't have a reaction to it. This is a little, it can be faster, but it can take obviously more than one treatment to do it. So if you have my brother is allergic to milk, so every time I see my brother, I treat him for milk. So you can kind of read the body and how many times that they're going to need to be treated. It depends on the person, their cellular makeup,
Sure.
and their exposure to what they're allergic to.
So what would it look like? Let's say someone like myself, I go to do a session, maybe I have multiple things going on. Maybe there's menopause and, I don't know, allergens and whatnot. So what would a session look like? once I were to go and visit you?
Well, I don't only just do Nate, so our
Okay.
first visit takes about an hour and a half.
Okay.
I do a full medical history. We have to go through, anyone in the family that has a history of maybe what you're suffering from, your children, your emotional state,
Sure.
your physical state, and we discuss anything that may be just bothering you in general, and then we talk about any sensitivities or any symptoms that you're suffering from right now. I have someone right now that their nose never stops running, so we walk through what your daily habits are, what you eat, how much you sleep, how many times a day you use the restroom, do you have any itchiness, or are you hot, are you cold? I walk through all the acupressure points on you. They're our first visit, so I can find, most of them anyway. There's some activation points that I can tell if there's sensitivities, like the 3 middle toes on your foot is your sinuses. So I'm treating someone right now for a sinus that they can never get rid of, a sinus infection. So it takes about an hour and a half the first time, and then the basics of Nate are the first 15. I want to work through the whole, the basics of the body. So we do the minerals, we do an egg mix, we do BBF, which is brain body functions, make sure that your body's balanced to start with. And then it goes on from like the salt mixes, the grain mixes, the sugar mix, vitamin C's, vitamin B complex, all of those to make sure that you're balanced. And then we make sure that those are all cleared in the body, and then we can really pinpoint, like if you're allergic to an ant bite or a poison ivy, or then we can really move on to those and pinpoint those and alleviate you from having any symptoms when you encounter those things.
Something you mentioned about minerals, I know that, the soil nowadays, it does not have the minerals that it had maybe 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago.
Right.
And because of that depletion in minerals, we, as we eat the foods, don't get that same mineral content.
Yeah.
So is it I wouldn't say mandatory, but what would you say, is it good to supplement with minerals, or what do you recommend as far as mineral?
It kind of depends on, every person's different,
Okay.
depends on your diet. I do recommend different diet changes depending on the person or what to implement. For diabetics, like I know that diabetics can be allergic to water, and most of us are dehydrated.
Are you kidding me?
No,
allergic to water. I've never heard of this.
Yep. So I recommend Celtic salt for diabetics because Celtic salt has the nutrients and the minerals that help you absorb the water. I can drink, because I'm type 1 diabetic, I can drink 10 bottles of water all day. They don't get to my cell. So with the Celtic salt, it helps it absorb.
Yes.
So for every person, my recommendations are different. And because I do functional nutrition, I do the Nates, I do the acupressure, and I do the herbal accommodations also. I do organic customized teas for each of my patients if they want that, to help with their ailments also.
Well, that makes sense. And I know that it is, Diabetes Awareness Month, so I know there are a lot of people that are looking for alternatives. So someone coming to see you, let's say that has history of diabetes, what would that look like? What would their session look like?
Well, I can talk to you about one of my patients is a type 2 diabetic. We worked through the basics of the body, those first few vials. We got 2 vitamin C. Now, this was one of my very first type 2 diabetics. Vitamin C, after treating him 3 times with vitamin C, he lost the neuropathy in his feet.
Oh my gosh.
His goal was to walk around Disneyland or Disney World with his grandchildren, and he couldn't do that so the vitamin C has an aspect where it works kind of against your sugar control. It creates a phosphorus. So after treating him several times with the vitamin C, he lost the neuropathy in his feet, and was able to do that with his grandchildren. So it's different like I said, it's different for every person. Yeah. But I try to make a customized plan for each of my patients and treat them and alleviate their symptoms.
We have a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Okay.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning back to our show, You and Your Doctor. Today we're continuing the conversation with Kerri Ballinger. She is a functional holistic health practitioner and so much more. And she can be reached at 561-706-4772. The website is Wildflower Allergy and Herbs.com. And we are discussing just so much information that can be useful for children, adults, seniors. I would imagine just anybody who's human who is having a challenge, they can benefit from seeing you.
Yes, I also treat emotional disorders. They
Wow.
believe it or not, they bottle up the frequency and energy of different emotions. People suffering from anxiety and depression can also be treated for that and cleared. So it's basically your nervous system that reacts to the emotion, right? Some people can handle that better than others, and those that can't, we can clear that out so that they have a better reaction when they encounter any of those instances where they may have a reaction like anxiety or depression, or I have one girl that was could not feel accepted, so we've treated her for that.
I think it's so important, that emotional factor, especially teens nowadays in the world we live in, and just so much going on with the pressure and social media, and kids are it's always on. They're always on. Like when I was a kid, you went home, you had a reprieve, you know what I mean? But now the phones constantly have access to that. So I think if anyone's listening, I'm going to give you your phone number again, and maybe you know somebody with emotional challenges, please give her a call. It's 561-706-4772. I'm really an advocate for that, for people, being their own, I guess, advocate for themselves to be able to take action and do something. So.
You talked about the phones. One of the muscle tests I do with teens to show them how the phone affects their physical health, also their emotional health, is to do a muscle test. If you do their muscle test and you can see how strong they bounce back, and you put their phone in their hand, their bounce back is not so strong. It's one of the tests I do with teens a lot to show them this is not a healthy thing that you hold in your hand every day.
They must be blown away, because it's literally, they're seeing it in action, their own body reacting to that muscle test.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty wild. They're like, what? Do it again, do it again. I'm like, yeah, see, look. It's the EMF rays that the phone gives off. So.
And our bodies know.
Oh yeah, our bodies know more than we realize.
Yes.
So some people say, oh, why do I have a headache today? Well, it's something you ate, some environmental factors. It's not just because your body wants to give you a headache. It's your body having a reaction and telling you that something is wrong. People, why does my right thumb hurt? Well, there's something going on. There's something going on. So.
So I feel like when people see you and they go through your process, they finally get the answer or solution to something that maybe has been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, alone with my son, it took 15 doctors and over a year of trying to figure it out until we saw that holistic health doctor, that NATE practitioner that to this day I say saved his life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of parents who are listening, or grandparents that are listening, and they have children or grandchildren that are maybe experiencing similar, challenges, they would benefit as well. And it's a natural approach. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the no-brainer, right? It's a natural approach.
For me, that's one of the most natural and substantial way to approach your health. I counter a lot of people. I understand that holistic health isn't the quickest and maybe its easiest route. The easiest route for people is to take a pill. I don't believe in that. I mean, if you want sustained longevity and fulfillment in your life and with your health, then you're going to take you don't lose 300 pounds in one day. You don't get healthy in one day.
That's right.
So.
That's right. It took, I remember after I gave birth, like a week later, somebody was like, did you lose all the weight? I'm like, okay, it took me 9 months to gain it.
Weight,
Give me
yeah.
at least 9 months to lose the weight.
Right.
And so it's the same concept. It's going to be a slower approach, but that natural, slower approach is the body doing what it needs to do to get to where it needs to get healthy.
Yeah, my dad, who has suffered from acid reflux and heartburn, and his doctors just kept giving. He's been on pills for 5 years. I go, Dad, can you please try my digestive tea? Can you just try it? He's no longer on meds.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's another great story. We have so many great stories here. I can't believe that time is already almost up. We literally have 2 minutes left, so please feel free to share any other feel-good stories or any other success stories, or what is your mission? What is your goal?
It's to educate people and know that if you have something wrong, that there is an alternative than maybe what you're used to. I believe in, you have to believe in yourself and in your body and read your body and find the alternate way. A pill is not the answer. I can tell you that right now. A pill is not the answer. And if you're, seeking help in alternative ways, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to guide you.
I'm going to give your number again. Anybody listening, please give her a call, 561-706-4772, Wildflower Allergy and Herbs.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great conversation.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.